Yeah, morning everybody. You're welcome to the Daily Digest with Jimi Disu, which is the first of the week and the first after the elections that we had on Saturday, right? Okay, so today I want us to examine what I will call the aftermath. We're not going to trade blames, but we are not going to pretend that we don't have maybe not a crisis, but something that needs to be nipped in the bud. And, as a result of what happened, we all saw it, so there's no point wasting time trying to highlight what happened or what didn't happen. It was there for everybody to see. I'm talking about Lagos now. The violence didn't catch most of us by surprise because we had seen it coming from the rhetoric and so on and so forth. We knew there was going to be something like that. So what it shows, what that shows to us is that there's some kind of standing army somewhere, and not necessarily to fight, but the way everything was coordinated, you could see there was some kind of central control. Now, to clean up part of the damage that has been done, which I think is our own task here, my own task here mainly, is to try and find a middle ground for life to become more acceptable to us as a people, whilst the politicians sort themselves out. What happened, though, I must say, was a national disgrace, completely embarrassing. Embarrassing to me as both on an ethnic point of view as a Yoruba person, and also as a Lagosian, and also as an adult, to very close to 70, to begin to ask myself, where did my generation go on wrong that we had gotten to this level? Now I'm talking to the ethnic part of things. Please turn that down a bit. Music, yes. Thank you. Sorry about that. Where had we gone wrong? And to try and see ways and means by which it can be corrected. First of all, I know that it's very, very difficult, if not impossible, for us to have peace without justice. That is definite. Somebody definitely has to pay, and somebody will pay for a lot of the things that happened. It might not be now. But in the interim, we're not going to be clawing at ourselves as animals. Let me tell you the experience that I had if it was close to yours. In the build-up to the election, I was taken aback by some of the rhetoric, that suddenly emerged in the social media. Indeed, but for my job, I would have gotten off the social media. And I found that people played to they played it to the hands of the politicians. But what it did was to stir some ill feelings to other people that, you really and truly have no business with as such. I mean, they go their way, you go yours. So what was the rhetoric? Oh, they want to take Lagos from us. That was very funny. Because, in fact, the ethnic group you were targeting, in any case, none of their people was on the ballot. Sure, because the Lagosian his mother is from that ethnic group, that makes him a non-Lagosian? Of course not. So it was an emotion that could easily have been avoided if a lot of people stopped to think. And then how do you take a play from somebody? I didn't quite get that. We fell into the hands of the political elite who want to make sure that they are as close to the cookie jar as possible. If not, what business is a common man with all this? We've all learned to live together. And I warned that we should be very, very careful. But I think what was most alarming for me, and I don't know whether to say a lot of people or a few people like me now, because I was taken aback by some of the thinking that is inherent in certain persons you think you've known all your life. The hate exhibited was mind-boggling. And I think that later, when some people, you see, what is going to happen is this. It's like you rape your house girl in the middle of the night when everybody is sleeping, and you are now afraid that she's going to get pregnant and you'll be exposed. How do you manage the 9 months if she has a baby? How do you manage for the rest of her life? That is the problem that all those who perpetrated that violence or whatever, that's the problem they're going to have. Because, okay, now, so the society is now seemingly divided. Okay? Some people are not, they're not going to go anywhere. You can shout you own the place all you like, but they have their documents. That's the reality. Are you going to resort to violence? No. So my take is this. I'm not going to argue on whichever side of the divide you are, but some of the things that came out from educated people, including, there was one message I got, was it yesterday or the day before? Somebody said, tell Jimmy he has to be very careful. It's people of a certain ethnic abstraction, whatever, that always call his program. So what am I supposed to do? Ask people to fill their form, state their state of origin before they call in? I mean, where did that all come from? Another one, very close to 70, said on Facebook something to the extent like, oh, we hope they have learned their lesson. Learned their lesson with all the broken heads and in some cases some dead bodies. We saw the video evidence. And a fully educated adult was gloating at that, supposedly to please his masters. The truth of the matter is that, you see, when you're a political, that's why politics is very dangerous. They will do 1,001 things on your behalf that sometimes even you cannot condemn. But it takes a strong political leader with resolve to say that no, because Atiku said it, Jonathan said it. Jonathan said it and meant it. Because I'm saying so. What I'm saying now is that if Jonathan didn't want to give in to that election that threw him out, he could have seen it through. But he said, no, my victory is not worth a drop of any human blood. So some of us have to now live through this thing. What do we do? First thing I've done, which you might want to do, if you find a lot of these things offensive, it's offensive to my soul, it's offensive to my spirit, it's offensive to my religion, it's offensive to my upbringing, that I would have that kind of inner feelings to a fellow man. I thank God that I don't have that, and I'm proud that I'm not one of them. So the first thing you want to do is, first of all, move them as friends and things. If you can even move away from the social media, so be it. You might be better off. But in the interim, just knock them off as your friends. Now you know who they are. You know the kind of people they are. But it's not general. We are still each other's brothers. You know, I came to this environment this morning, went to some other environments, and people of different ethnic upbringings were laughing at some of the antics that people are talking about. And so we mustn't allow a set of people who believe that who have these inner thoughts. Now let me quickly tell you that for a lot of them, that's their real person. Don't think that it was this crisis that led to it. For a lot of them, it must have been that those are the kind of persons that they are. But I can quickly add, they do not represent the generality. Take that to the bank. So I like to plead, I'm trying not to mention, ethnic nationalities, so that at least we don't go and put a petrol bomb in a burning fire. I'd like to ask all of us to be adults. Remember our religious injunction, which says love thyself. What does it say now? Love thy neighbor. Thank you very much. Love thy neighbor as yourself. It doesn't mean Mama Fatima, who always has her bath in the perforated bathroom next door. That's not the love they're saying. Love thy neighbor means love everybody, irrespective of who they are. In other countries, they even love their animals more than they love their human beings. So we will open up. When we open up our lines, we would like people to express themselves. We will not, this program at least, will not be pleased in hearing hard positions. Okay, we won't be hard positions. What we need to do now is a repair. The leader of the state, the governor himself, he has a very, very, very big job to do in the regard of what has happened. For the sake of peace, we really can't hold him responsible yet, even though a lot of these things were done on his behalf. We can't hold him responsible yet until that time comes when a thorough analysis can be done of what has happened, and it will be done. May not be now. It definitely will be done. You remember all the things we discovered that you put a panel, how some people went home in shame. But since he's the leader and the buck stopped at his table, he would have to work out a very strong peace plan. What you have now is a piece of the graveyard. You have the victory, you've won the battle, you now need to go and win the war. You need to go and win the war. I think a lot of the brigandage was completely unnecessary. Because you then ask yourself, you have an extra task. If you've won an election under that kind of circumstance, you now have an extra task to go and make the peace. And there's a proverb, I don't know how it goes, but the import of it is that something to say that you don't go to court or go to these kind of battles and hope there will be peace. But there will be peace in the land. There will be peace in the land. Having said that, some of the things that I see that are coming are very, very frightening. And I think Nigerians need to brace themselves up. We are now talking nationwide. We've taken it out of the state, moved to a nationwide situation. I was a bit worried, for example, when the president said that, the president-elect, if he is sworn in, says that, he will not have a government of national unity. And I wondered where that phrase came from. That's the number one flag that bothers me. The number two flag is that of his spokesperson. I don't want to repeat what he said. But Bayo Ononuga, who is one of his spokespersons, but I am glad forever forgiving him all his sins that Festus Keyamo quickly came up and tried to retract what the gentleman said. And I give him kudos for that. I'm glad that he quickly sprung up, and that was quite fast, sprung up to it, because it was completely insensitive. It was completely insensitive. I could use a stronger word if I was not on air, but I have to keep within the ethics. But I am glad that Festus, but it is still worrying. One of the things that is also worrying is the military-like operation that took place. It was, I was wondering who would be at the command point of all this stuff, because it was the same scenario statewide, Lagos here. And so these are the flag points we need to ask, because at the end of the day, okay, so all those who are involved in all that, you probably would be able to reward them with cash then. What do you do with them afterwards? If you look at the origins of the Boko Haram and so on and so forth, it all started from these things like this in politics. So very quickly now, the governor or the government or the party, as it were, has to find a way to keep these people at bay, because somehow, if you are not careful, you have legitimized things like Owole. If they've been given that kind of ethnic instruction, if care is not taken, what you're going to be having next is them extending that authority. That's why I always talk about the day after. That look, there's always a day after. Like I said, okay, so you've raped the housemaid. How do you manage the pregnancy and the baby that's coming after? That has to be nipped in the bud, or else, if care is not taken, we'll be developing a parallel authority in the states. And it could actually overwhelm the state itself at a future date. A word is enough for the wise. I can't give my comments on the whole exercise itself and how disappointed I was that this is happening. I can't. So many things, least of it being that, okay, look, let's try and quell things rather than burn them up. Make one leave that side out of it. But I think we need to be watchful about who we move around with in terms of what their inner thoughts are like. I'm going back to that topic because it particularly frightened me. It really did. It broke a lot of groups. It broke even at family level. Even at family level, you found things that you couldn't understand. And some did it with pride. And some, I like what Patrick Doyle had a few posts. If you're a friend of his, go to his posts on Facebook and you will see certain posts that he had put down. that even though he was in support of a particular candidate, he didn't particularly support what was going on, and he considered it completely unnecessary. And then for those who are now gloating, because you see a lot of imbecility, a lot of childishness in Facebook and the social media, about trying to gloat over something that one finds embarrassing. This is what Patrick Doyle said. He said, gloating is the crudest form of celebration or affirmation. It can be likened to the cackling of baboons at a jungle festival. I initially wanted Patrick to join me this morning, but I said, let me scale it down and let's find time to talk to ourselves and preach as much as possible. Because you see, no matter how much you think that you are right and they are wrong, now I'm talking of both sides of the divide, the last thing we want is for it all to end in conflagration. So some of us have to clear the mess that has been done. Now, it's a big mess. I hope people do realize that. As at yesterday night, before I went to bed at 11, I'd seen about 5 people who turned their Nigerian passports in public. 5 who are turned, in anger, they are torn up their Nigerian passports out of complete frustration. I understand where they are coming from, but I hope that they don't find the need to go back and apply for another one in future. Yes, but I can understand where the frustration is. I'd like to assure all ethnic nationalities in Lagos here that from my own intelligence sources, everybody should feel free and feel safe. These are just the rantings of politicians. But their leaders must nip this in the bud. And make sure that it doesn't expand before that. It's not for the governor to get a few red-capped people together and say that is the peace. That's not what is going to bring total peace. It's a genuine effort. A genuine effort. The issue of justice is another thing entirely. That is another story. I'm more concerned with the peace for now. I'm not saying it shouldn't happen, because I believe also in justice. I believe that truth must prevail over darkness. But at least in the interim, don't let us do more damage to ourselves. So I'm going to open up our lines. It's 920 0700 993 993 993 and 01465 7190. Now we're going to handle this very carefully. Okay, I don't want under my watch for this state or this country to explode. And you're getting angry and expressing it in very strong words or in a very strong way would not benefit anybody. You can still make your point, but let's try and keep it down. Okay? Let's try and keep it down. At the end of the day, we must learn to live in peace. Dogs, usually, when you keep them aside and there's no food, they will go their own way and play with each other. But if you put only one plate of food amongst 10 dogs, you get a lot. Or you put one female amongst 10 males, you get a lot of biting and whatever. Let's remember that the human beings are there. I'd like to plead with those who consider themselves victorious to please not taunt the other side. Okay, so you've done what you want. You've gotten the victory. Just like Patrick said, don't start taunting the other side. I also see a lot of that. Because what you do, when you do that, you taunt the other side, is you begin to nurture another form of ill feelings, which we don't need at this point. You've gotten it, you've gotten your victory. Some of you will realize that the victory that you got is not a real victory. That's another story for another day, but at least for today, let's not taunt each other, okay? I'll take the first call. Good morning. Morning. Morning.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Jimmy. Good morning.
Morning, madam. How are you?
Yes, I'm very well, thank you. My name is Eunice.
Yes.
Thank you for this. Maybe fortunately, I'm held up in traffic. Maybe that's why I'm able to listen to you this morning.
Yes.
I am actually livid.
I know.
Very, very livid. My name is Eunice. My dad is from Ondo State.
Yes.
He married an Edo woman.
Yes.
And me, by marriage, I married an Urobo woman and a Urobo man.
There are lots of us like that.
And on Saturday, I couldn't vote. I was told I am not a Yoruba person.
No, we've had enough. We know all these stories. We've heard this. I'm sorry to say. I mean, I sympathize with you and whatever, but we've heard these stories on and on and on. Okay, what we now want to do is to find a way to manage our lives, because it's very important. It's very, very important that we manage our lives. These are things that were done. Just what percent of the population are the politicians? So it's very, very important that we manage our lives. So I thank you very much for your contribution. It's 9:24. We have to take a break. We'll be back after the break. Bye.
Don't touch that dial. Daily Digest returns in a moment.
The home of entertaining conversations.
I personally think Liverpool of last season that lost the title were better. That's my personal opinion.
Somebody who has the virus refused to isolate. That's even attempted murder, in my opinion, because you know how dangerous this virus is and you refuse to do the right thing. It should be a crime.
99.3.
A young man like me, looking for what I will fight myself. And police are collecting my money. It's illegal. Okay, later I will say Yahoo Yahoo. I'm not doing Yahoo Yahoo. I have a luxury shop.
Your number one station for talk. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
Adolescents that should not be giving back are in fact being forced to give back. Not even once, but multiple times.
99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
Why buy a house when you can rent? Why buy a spacious home in Paramount Twin Towers, Oniru, a gated community of like-minded people, when you can go way further to build connections? Why wake up to extensive greenery and a view of the ocean instead of the hustle and bustle of the city? Why raise your kids in a safe and secure community when they can have what the average kid has? Sounds crazy? That's because you have standards and refuse to compromise them.
To have your standards met, call 0806-728-7814 to buy a unit or more at Paramount Twin Towers, Oniru, and save 20%. Terms and conditions apply. Paramount Twin Towers, Oniru is a project of Palton Morgan Holdings.
Group A of the I Beg to Differ Tournament of Champions has 3 ambitious debaters gunning for glory. Deborah Pamzat went from playoffs to runner-up in March 2022 in upset after upset. But this time, Lagos knows never to underestimate her. Chiagozie Isidore Omona Ugu won the first ever I Beg to Differ match, beating future champion Ruth Okorocha. But he lost in the quarterfinals of that same tournament to finalist Emanuela Nadi. And now, he's in a group with the girl who beat Emanuela, Tamvita Kaushik. The first ever champion is the group's top seed. Will she retain her undefeated streak? Find out this March at the I Beg to Differ Tournament of Champions on 99.3 Nigeria Info FM and Wazobia Max TV.
So, as you wake up one first check highlight for early momo, you can remember, say, time for school runs don't reach you. Baller wey sabi the 1-4 hand for there. How you go do your thing? Come still catch up with your game. That na baller wey sabi. How you go do your waka? Come still watch the game full time. Abi, come on, baller. Showmax dey your side. Sake of say dem dey summer you with better leagues for any screen, anytime, any day. No matter where you dey. For chicken money will be 3,200 naira a month. Live from Supersport on Showmax Pro. Make you sign up for showmax.com.
NS to
Oga, wetin happen? I don send a go market. Abi dey owe you money.
Oga pharmacy, no be your boy I dey call jare. I dey ask for NS liver salt, ogbonge medicine wey dey comot any yamayama discomfort for person belle, whether na heartburn, constipation or even indigestion o. NS liver salt get lemon, orange and other correct flavors. With NS liver salt, belle go dey balance. Oya Oga pharmacy, sama me one make I go enjoy.
NS liver salt, the ogbonge medicine where they make your belle kulele. Rush and tiny pharmacy, go buy your own now.
Moves must be made. My people just to work hard. Dreams and challenges motivate us. But sometimes, when the journey gets tiring, all we need is something to push our limits.
Ignite your energy, bring out your inner champion. energy drink. What you need to push your limits. Push your limits.
AI Mining presents Music Party. In order to support the development of the country's economy, AI Mining Nigeria will launch a 60-day God of Luck Lucky Draw. Lucky Draw time, 25th March to 25th May. Participants, all registered AI Mining members. The system will select 10,000 lucky winners every day from the 3 million registered members. There will be a raffle draw, and the winner gets minor 5, an activation fee worth 13 million naira. Host MC Ebony, comedian MC Ability, concert opening Temilayo Aboduri, Peruzi, Portable, Sheyi Vibes, Iyaya, and Bella Shmoda. Grab your ticket for just 75,000 naira. Time 6:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Date 25th March 2023. Venue Tafawa Balewa Square, 45/57 Masebang-Boshe Street, Lagos Island, 102273 Lagos. For booking and inquiry, call 091-3600-3002.
We're back.
We're back.
We're back.
We're back.
We are back.
We're back on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
This is Daily Digest with Jimi Disu.
Yes, thank you very much. Welcome back to the Daily Digest with Jimi Disu, and we are talking about the aftermath of last weekend. We are talking about the aftermath, okay? So if you, I please beg to, if you want to call in to tell us what your experience was like, that's not really the purpose. Rather, we'd like to know what your feelings are like, with moderation. For example, Tayo says that I think we should start a campaign, Shun Tribalism, Reject Tribalism, hashtag Shun Discrimination. This is the kind of message that we can use to kill the negativity that has pervaded the environment. If the orientation agencies in Nigeria wouldn't do their job, let's start by ourselves. And I think, Tayo, you couldn't have put it better. You see, because look, we will not allow a group of hungry politicians throw us into complete darkness. All of us have a stake in this country. It's not just the politicians who run us. They are politicians because we want to give them the opportunity to lead us. Okay? If they don't do it right, we know how we're going to punish them at the appropriate time. But in the interim, we must find a way. We definitely must find a way to stop the degeneration of this crisis that has started. And that is the part that bothers me. Because you can't do the two pari passu. Okay? You can't argue with some of these people. They have a particular mindset. But there's something to say about a bull in a china shop. For those of you who are literally minded. And that is what we're trying to manage here. The sanctions will come for those who started. I'm not saying that they should go unpunished. And they will all be surprised where these sanctions will come from. Also remember, don't join them. Be careful what you put on the social media. Let them abuse you all they like. Make sure that even if you're going to respond at all, I'd rather you just ignore them, really. But if you're going to respond, you'll be a bit careful, because you see, everything out there is recorded. And sometimes a response is recorded without taking into consideration what prompted it. So in all these things, we just need to be careful. But like I said, I can assure everybody that amongst the people, all these positions are not holding water as such. And because you see, some of them defy logic. I tried to argue with some of these protagonists, but I just gave up and said I'd rather talk to people with common sense. Oh, they said they want to take over Lagos. Anybody can say that in a beer parlor anywhere. Even if you go on air, if I go on air and say I want to, how? Are you going to revoke people's CFO? What are you going to do to take over? They say Lagos doesn't belong to any, it's no man's land. People can say what they like, but we know what it is. Why do you get so worked up over nothing? And then does it mean that because one person has said it, that is the aim and ambition of everybody? I discovered that, and I'm sorry to say, a lot of people in my generation are not thinking. They're still babies. Go and get yourself worked up over, and yet these same people, they like to go to the UK to the second passport. They like to go get an American green card. They talk about rights. They talk about this. They like to go to other places and lord it over them. That's why I found a bit prolific the message that came from the Niger Delta. If we begin to split hairs down the line over these issues, how do I translate this one now from Yoruba to English that says who can tell me what it is? But let's all just stop and think. Oh, Jimmy, the people, tell Jimmy, the people who phone him, he must watch out for those people. They're always calling the radio. So what should I do? If you fill a form, you fill in your state of... let's all just stop and think. And stop being children. And it's very sad when you see enlightened and adults saying things that their children must not, because the younger people are colorblind. And our generation need to know that our children are not going to be like them. They won't be like us. They are mixed. My kids have only God knows how much blood. If there was a way you can dissect blood. My kids, for example, have cousins. They have Kenyans. They have this. They have that. They are colorblind. And so this nonsense, must be put because the end effect of things like this is the same propaganda, for example, that was used on us when we were small and made all of us taunting the Chinese. Today, the Chinese rule the world because you lose sight. The same thing, it also happened at the time by the Indians. The Indians, look at now, they rule the world. They are going to space. They are running the country of their colonial masters. So let's stop and think especially before you put pen to paper or as they say, before you put your hands to the typewriter. Now this has nothing to do with this is not an APC whatever matter. This is a very simple matter on how best we can survive. I usually say the day after has come now. Everybody has to go about his own business. If you don't nip this thing in the bud, businesses will be disrupted on all sides. Schools will be disrupted for all children. Security challenges will come on all sides. And it's not going to rain on just one person's rooftop. Let me take another call. Hello, good morning. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Yes, my name is Christy.
Yes.
I think this problem has always been with us. It's just that election has amplified it.
Okay.
And I think it's high time we start addressing it, just like you said.
Yes.
I think someone said the campaign should be done. I think the conversation should really keep going, especially at school levels.
Yes.
Primary schools,
yes.
Secondary schools.
Yes.
Those are the people we need to catch. I won't mention my ethnic group. I'm from a different ethnic group. My husband is from a different ethnic group. The presidential election, we voted the same candidate. Governorship election, we voted different candidates. It wasn't an issue. We didn't even, because we understood everybody has a right.
Exactly.
And if we don't go to the secondary and primary school level, we're just going to create chaos. Because like my children now, their ethnicity is going to be Nigeria. Because they will be neither here nor there.
Yes.
So we must stand, just like Martin Luther King said, we must look towards a Nigeria where we will not be judged by our state of origin or by the content of our character.
Do you think we should take it out? Do you think we should take it out of our forms? When you fill a form and they say name, and
I think we should. We should, because I experienced discrimination even before this started.
Yes.
Not on the political field, on the career path. I was going to go into civil service of a different ethnic group, and it was not. What helped me was because the directors the superiors, they stood their ground, and I got in. But within my own colleagues, I experienced superb discrimination.
Yes.
So we have to. And I'm not just saying it, I also think even from where I come from, because even when I went there, people from another ethnic group, they too, they experience the same discrimination. So it looks like, I'm being very objective, that a particular ethnic group is amplifying it now, but it's something that cuts across.
Yes.
It cuts across. Even as far back as, it goes into to even your village. If you go to your state now, you say you're not from this part of the state. We are only giving this to these people from this part of the state. So we need to have those conversations.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate what you said, and I agree with you 100% that it's been with us. But we've tried so hard to wipe it up. God bless General Gawan. That was the spirit of the National Youth Service Corps, amongst others, also to even development. And because of that, there's been a lot of intermarriage. People are happy. We're breaking the barriers. But these politicians are, some of them, only God knows what part of Mars they came from. They can be very ruthless. Once they want something, they're ruthless. They set you clawing at yourselves just so that they can achieve what they want. But we, the people, now must have that resolve amongst ourselves that we won't allow them divide us. I mean, that's a legitimate thought. Nobody can fault that kind of thinking. You can't keep coming up with this theory at us. At some point, we will soon start defending ourselves and say, no, go your own way. We don't divide us. We are together. We jointly hold hands. It's a pity that we don't have that. I think the major problem that we have is that we don't follow the rule of law, and people are not punished for these things. In some other countries, it takes 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Things like genocide, hate speech, and all these things, you'll be paying for it. That's why I say that for your own sanity, in the short run, you might want to get off the soul. You might want to, first of all, distance yourself from the things they are saying. Don't join them. Let them go on their own rant. But this issue I'm bringing up has affected me more than you would imagine. People you've known, I'm in my 60s now, late 60s. People I've known all my lives, all of a sudden, you take a peep into their inner thoughts and you say, oh my God. And some of them don't stop to think. For example, you have somebody who is making so much noise, but his wife is from the very ethnic side that he's talking about. How do you look at that woman even in the dark at night? Talk less of when you put on the light, or you look at your children. We do need to be careful. So we'll take another call. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Uncle Jim, good morning.
Morning.
I prefer to stay anonymous.
Yeah, okay.
So I was gonna say, as it was rightly opined some time ago, I guess we didn't even have this bad when the military were in government.
Yes.
Say that all this ethnic propaganda is just to whoop up sentiment, okay?
Yes.
This is affecting everybody. Okay, so I'm a legal practitioner and I am 10 years post-call. I've worked here and there. And the places where I would have really loved to work, okay, when I get to the final stage, you get to hear that, some politicians have taken up the slot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a Yoruba girl, okay? So it's all these tribal excuses. It's just to whoop up sentiment. And it's shameful that people are taking the floor, okay? Uncle Jimmy, this is me. I'm not at work at the moment because the places I've been treated badly, okay? And I said earlier, the places I would have really loved to, the two politicians have taken it up. The previous scholar was even very lucky. She got lucky. She got the job. So far, I haven't. I am.
Okay, thank you. I think the point is noted. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of that. I also don't want it to look as if one is discrediting completely all politicians. Amongst them, you do find quite a number of decent people, and amongst them, you do find quite even up to chief executive level. You do find that some of them submit themselves to the will of the people rather than those who want to impose themselves. But like I said again, the dangerous part of politics also shows that a lot of I don't know why I think in Yoruba. I think I need to do my thinking. But a lot of things are done in the name of the beneficiary, being that the top politicians, supporters do all kinds of things. But I think that the ones that we are seeing, what we are seeing on the political scene now, is something that we will have to talk about pretty soon, maybe when I come back from my break, so I can think it out very well. But I'm not particularly happy about the way these things are now going. I'm not particularly happy. I'm beginning to feel a bit more uncomfortable than I felt during the Abacha period. But that will be the story it won't be the story for today. We'll be able to talk about that. I'm taking a break soon. When I come back from break, we'll be able to talk about that. Let's pick that call, the internet call.
All right, Lagos.
Hello. It was on another radio. Pick your normal call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Uncle Jimmy. How are you this morning?
I'm fine.
Yeah, I want to thank you for all you've been doing so much. And you've been doing a wonderful job. This issue that is happening in Nigeria, it baffles me. I was in Rwanda for my internship for a year.
Yes.
Where I worked with the United Nations. When I walked into the genocide museum that had the skulls of people who died during the genocide, after the end of that work, it humbled me. It humbled me. Like, if you go into Rwanda now, you won't hear anybody call Hutu or Tutsi. They are one Rwanda. Paul Kagame came into that country and erased anything called ethnicity, and it is now a crime to even identify yourself as one tribe. You are all one Rwanda. People should learn from what has happened in Africa. There's a documentary by the colonel that was sent there by the United Nations. It's called Shake Hands with the Devil. People should go and look up that documentary on YouTube and see what happened in Rwanda. Probably it will remind them. And the politicians who are the biggest culprits of all this, one day there's a price to pay, like you said.
Yes.
Because the ones in Rwanda who caused all this that ran away, Paul Kagame hunted all of them down and brought them back, and they faced justice. He hunted them down. That man is a true leader in Africa, and most of our politicians who emulate him. If you go into Rwanda now, you won't even know that you're in an African country. You will be shocked at how developed that place is, and it's because they've taken away that thing that divides them. I single-handedly came to Nigeria for this election. This is the first day I'm listening to Nigerian info after the whole thing that happened. I came back so dejected because I was having high hopes. I was heartbroken. I and my wife is a Yoruba woman. We stopped listening to radio. We stopped listening to Nigerian info just to help us heal.
Okay, thank you. We'll help you heal. Thank you very much. I can understand the way he feels, and I quite identify with him. To be honest with you, the media too has been found wanting, and that is because some of them, to be very honest with you, some of them probably have succumbed to entreaties from these same principal actors. Probably, to put it bluntly, they've been bought over, or some of them feel like being under threat. The most difficult job now is to be a journalist. I can assure you, especially if you're a very strong, principled one. But we will survive it, because for some of us, it's a calling. There's nothing we can do about it. It's a calling. We will survive it. 9:47. I think I can take about 2-3 more calls. So there you go. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Morning.
Let me remain anonymous.
Okay, remain anonymous.
Uncle Jimmy, I'm very grateful to God and grateful to you. Since morning I've been listening to Sheriff and you at this time. What I have in mind, I have changed my mind.
Oh, good.
I'm an employee of labor. my instinct tells me to go and put out all the people and my employees. But by the grace of God, I've changed my mind. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Wow, that's a big achievement. Feta, you should buy me a drink. Well, I hope this has an effect on all of us. Because you see, and I'm so glad we didn't get his name. Wow, he would have put all of them out. It remains anonymous, yes. But we thank you so much for having to do everything. Don't allow the greed of a few. Because if you find those who are protagonists of these ethnic things generally, they're either people who don't feel up to scratch, or people who think that they need to show loyalty to the man in control of the cookie jar. But the truth is that the man in control of the cookie jar, in most cases, is a knowledgeable person. Okay? And once you are doing all what you want to aid his victory, it doesn't mean that he might respect you. It doesn't mean so. There are no guarantees. But what I beg of you is this. If you can, if you can get off the social media, just get off it. And leave them to continue to rant and do things on their own. If you need to stop being friends with some, so be it. But I'm not going to sit back and allow anybody mislead me, from my values that I grew up with, which I consider very good values. Love thy neighbor as thyself, male or female, as the case may be. Well, you are not my neighbor, you're just sitting next to me, so I can't love you. Okay, it's about 9:50, so I can take just one more call, and then I'll be out of here. Hello, good morning. Hello, morning. Oh, okay. Can we take one call? Hello, morning. Morning.
Uncle Jimmy, I greet you. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
My name is Uchi. I'm calling from the UK.
Yeah, please go on. We're running out of time.
Okay, very quickly. I agree with you. You've said it all. And you hit the nail on the head exactly when you said that some of these things have actually lived with some people all their lives.
Yes.
Saturday and the day before just presented a platform for them to actually come out.
Yes.
But you see, Uncle Jimmy, what I want to appeal to my people. I don't want to mention the ethnic group, but Uncle Jimmy, it's beginning to look like Uncle Jimmy, I'd rather not
turn down your radio.
Just have a nice morning, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. I was getting an echo anyway, but I understand where he's going. We'll do this thing bit by bit. Okay, it's not all going to happen in one day. We'll continue to talk to ourselves because we have to learn to live together. Even if we supposedly go our separate ways, we'll still live together anyway. Maybe some of you don't know there was a time Cameroon was a part of Nigeria. There was a time, I think Yoruba land, Ajashe, I wanted to say Yoruba land, Ajashe, the part of Ajashe was a part of, we must just all learn to live together. What's it? You live 60, 70 years and go back. What has all this got to do with it? Take out the envy and take out stop holding other people responsible for where you are. I also get a lot of that. And don't forget, if you think that there's something wrong with the system has been unfair to you, it's a moving target. If the world serves you lemon, make lemonade out of it. I got to go. Tomorrow is Dear Bumi. Oof, thankfully. And I'm considering bringing somebody to talk to us about Rwanda on Thursday. And I hope that will then end this thing that I'm trying to do to make us heal. To the authorities, without prejudice to what because I hear there are going to be appeals and so on and so forth. But to the authorities in Lagos, you have a lot of work to do without prejudice to what happens eventually. And it's up to you. It's up to you. History is looking at everybody. And when I remember what Mustafa said about a general who defecated in his office, and I now look at the Mustafa today, I know that no condition is permanent. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Nigerian Communications Commission has ordered mobile network operators.
Shaping our present and the future.
Don't arrest me. You said it can't block anything.
The vast majority of men and women of the police force are hardworking and diligent in performing their duties.
Policies and its makers.
I have been crying out. What is there in our time now is that the cost of government is too much.
And I want to assume that you would run because I want to give the listeners context for the conversation.
In 2019, you were running mate to Atiku Abubakar. What did you learn then that you will not repeat this time?
Yes, when is the president coming out to address us?
There's a few things. One, I have a burden and a passion for young people.
The fact that you have elected a man does not mean then you begin to order him around. The president will do whatever is good for the country at any given time.
Mr. Adesina, isn't the president responsible to the people?
What should the next president do to root out stakeholders who are complicit?
You fire those. Those that need to be fired are fired.
It's looking like a brand new Chelsea, attacking with so much fluidity. And what can you say about that, Martin? I know you follow Chelsea quite closely.
I live close to the Chelsea training ground. That's what you mean by that. I'm not a